Hey everyone, this is Benny. I'm coming to you from the PVC server, and I have a question specifically for map makers. Like, is it just when you make a big map art that say like 8 maps by 8 maps, is it just super tedious to like duplicate those maps and package up the maps? And because it seems like it would be, and this was a problem that I hadn't really given too much thought about until recently when I created my own, reasonably large map art. And it's nothing super fancy, but it's this. It is a full domino set. It's 28 maps, and I want to sell them all together, obviously. So I got to thinking, like after I did this, I got to thinking, how am I going to package these up? Because I'll be honest, if I have to like go to every single map and like grab it and be like, oh, okay, how many copies do I think I'm gonna make? Do I think I'm gonna make 8 copies? Do I think that's gonna sell? And then I grab the first map and I grab 8 empty maps and I make 8 duplicates of that, and then I go on to the second one and make 8 duplicates of that, and it's like and then if it sells out, what do I do then? So I got to thinking, and I think there's a better way, and I am here to show you that better way, and hopefully, hopefully it's actually helpful. Basically, what I came up with is this machine here, which I will show you how it works later in the video. But for right now, all you need to know is that this is essentially a map printing press. You put in a selection of maps here, and then every time you hit this button, it will give you a complete copy of that entire set. So it's pretty easy to use. Here we've got, it's this entire dominoes in the order that I want it to be. So starting from here, across the top row, second row, third row, fourth row, fifth row, sixth row, seventh row. Okay, so to start, we're going to take the bundle and we're just going to pick up all the maps we want to duplicate. The entire set, we're going to pick them up in order. All right, so now we've got a bundle with all 28 maps that we want to duplicate. The important thing to know about bundles is that the last item in is going to be the first item out. So if we want those maps to duplicate in the same order, we need to start loading this machine from the end here. So we're going to go here, we're going to drop in the first map, move on to the next one, drop in the next map, and so forth, and we're just going to go down the entire line, just dropping one map in at a time. And I will see you once this is all done. I'm not going to show you the whole thing. And last one. All right, so there we go. We've got the entire 28 maps into here. All of these crafters, they've got the map and they've got a bunch of empty maps. This could be up to a stack. And then we're just going to come down here. This chest is empty except for a few bundles at the bottom. We're going to hit this button and it is going to craft an entire duplicate of that set. One at a time, and it'll be in the order that we want them in, basically. And there we go. So once we got them all in, we can just scoop them all up into the bundle in the same order that they came in. And there we go. Now let's say we want another copy. All we got to do is hit this button. Another copy will come in. And once that's in, we can scoop it up into the bundle as well. Okay, so now we got 3 copies. Just to prove that they are the same, we can shift click them. They're all the same. They're all the same order. Sweet. So you can kind of see the machine here, although I'm gonna take you into a creative world here, and I'll show you how this actually works, because it's really simple. It's super easy to do. It's not super resource heavy. And honestly, I think it's really convenient. All right, so we're here in a creative world because I wanted to show you kind of like a bit of the science behind the problem here. So if we've got a map, let's say map number 1, that we want to make a bunch of copies of, we can put that into a crafting table with a bunch of empty maps. It'll output 2 of map number 1 and take the one from over here. We can put it back in and we can kind of do this dance. Honestly, it's kind of tedious. And even if it was fine for 1, we need to make 28 maps for the domino set. So that's not going to be really cutting it. We're going to have to introduce some automation here. Obviously in Minecraft, that means the crafter. So what we can do is this. If we get the stack of empty maps, 1 copy of map number 1, it'll output 2 copies of map number 1 when we power it. As you can see, it spits them both out at the same time, which is very useful because it allows us to use this little trick over here, where if we have a crafter facing down into a double chest, because both items are placed into that double chest at the same time, one will get pulled into this chest, one will get pulled into this chest when the crafter is powered. So we got 1 copy of map number 1, hit the button, and down here, we've got 1 copy of map number 1 in this chest, 1 copy in this chest. Now, the problem with this is that there is no more copy in the crafter, so we can only do that once. But the solution is pretty simple. We just need to get the one from this chest to come back up into the crafter. Now, honestly, that's really easy to do. We just need to use a dropper elevator to do that. So these 3 are droppers, 2 facing upwards, and then this last one is facing in towards the crafter here. I will show you how to build this in a second. But suffice it to say, if we've got 1 copy of map number 1 in here and a bunch of empty maps, when we hit this button, we will get 1 copy coming into here. This will be the output. The other copy will come into this hopper, but then get immediately pulled back up and put into the crafter. If we hit the button, we'll see there is now a copy of map number 1 in here, and there's another copy up in the crafter. If we hit the button again, it'll do the same thing. Now we got 2 copies down here. Original copy is still up here. Now, obviously, this is kind of overkill if we're just copying 1 map, but the power of this system comes when we want to copy more than 1 map. For example, for the dominoes, I need to do 28 maps. So if we make 28 of these modules, link them all up together, with a single button press, we can create a duplicate of that entire 28 map set. We don't have to think, oh, am I going to make 10 copies? Am I going to make 12 copies? It doesn't matter. We make the copies that we want as we want them. So I am going to show you how to construct this. I'll just leave the screen up here for a few seconds. If you want to pause now, you can pause and create from this. But if this picture isn't enough, then I will show you how to build it now. So to start off, we're just going to put 1 block and a sticky piston facing up. And we're going to put a block on top of that. I'm using granite here. It really doesn't matter. It can be any solid block. On top of this granite here, we're going to put 1 comparator facing towards this way. We're going to put a temporary block here, and then we're going to make the dropper elevator. So we're going to go up 1, 2 facing upwards, and the third one is going to be facing this way. We can delete that block if we want, and then we'll move on to the double chest. So it's going to go right here. Underneath that, we're going to put 1 hopper facing into the bottom dropper, and the other hopper is going to be facing forward. So we can just put a temporary block there, face the hopper towards that. This is going to be the output for the machine. So you can put a chest there or a double chest. It really depends on how many maps you're going to be duplicating at once. For me, since I'm going to be doing 28 maps for the domino set, I'm going to put a double chest. If you were, say, had a 64 map set, you could just put another double chest below that, put a hopper into there. But for our purposes right now, I'm not going to put that there. On top of here, we're going to put the crafter facing down. Now we will need a temporary block above it. Put the crafter facing down there. And then beside that, we're going to put a target block. And beside the chest here, we're going to put 1 more of the solid blocks. Yeah, just about done. We're going to put 1 more temporary block here. and we're going to put an observer facing towards the block, and then you can break that block. Now, this is essentially done. We just need to power it. So we're going to put a redstone dust here, and we'll put a button on the front. And this is it. You can block off 8 of the slots if you want, so there's just room for the empty maps and the map you want to duplicate. It really doesn't matter. It's going to work the same as long as you only put 1 stack of the empty maps into it. So in order to add on more modules, we'll just make a few here. We'll start by putting a couple hoppers here. And basically, we're going to make this module again, but we're going to leave a 1 block space in the middle. So I'll just build that up. Okay, so now we've got both of the modules built up. We just need to connect them together. So you will notice that the hopper chain at the bottom here, it does go underneath both of these double chests and straight into the output chest. We're just going to want to cover up this hopper here. We can use any full block, but I'm going to recommend a full block light source like a frog light. And then we're going to put another block here with a repeater on it. It can stay on 1 tick, that's fine. And then finally, between the target blocks, we're going to put another block here, just so that when we're loading and unloading, we can hug straight up against these blocks. And we're also going to want to put some blocks along the side here. You can do full blocks, or you can do trap doors, just like this. And that's just so that when you are using the machine, you don't fall out the front or the back. And finally, you're going to want to probably put some way to get up to the actual loading device. And that's about it. Again, you can block off 7 of the slots here. It's really not fully essential. And just to show you that it does indeed work, we're going to come here. We're going to put a bunch of empty maps in, and we're going to put map number 1 into this one. And the second slot here, we're going to put a bunch of maps and map number 2. So if we come down here, press the button, we're going to see map number 1, map number 2. And if we come up here, there's a map number 1 in here, a map number 2 in here. So like before, we can just take these out with a bundle and hit the button again, and we'll get another of the set. Now, you can make this as long as you want. Just keep in mind the simulation distance of the server. I honestly, for PVC, I don't know what it is. The render distance is 8 chunks, so I wouldn't make it more than 8 chunks long. But there's nothing to stop you from just making the hopper chain go like this and then continuing back the way that you came. So it should be essentially infinitely expandable. Yeah, just keep in mind that a bundle can only hold 64 items. You can also use shulkers. You don't have to put it into a bundle. So if you wanted to put a shulker at the end here, you could. You could put a barrel. You could do the 2 double chests like I showed before. It's very flexible. Yeah, hopefully you find this useful. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments. I will be happy to answer them. I genuinely think this is going to help, so I hope it does. I do want to make a disclaimer. This is used for copying your own maps. If somebody doesn't want you copying maps, which most map artists on the server don't want you copying their maps, please don't use this to copy their maps without their permission. That's not what it's for. It's for people who are making maps to make their job easier. Maybe it'll bring down costs, maybe it won't. I don't know. That's not the intention. The intention is to allow people to spread their creations throughout the server with a little bit less friction. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed the tutorial. Hopefully it made sense. And yeah, maybe see you on the server. Bye.